Chosen one. Far in the east, where rivers turn to mirrors at sunrise and bells toll through air colder than crystal, a whisper traveled through marble halls. It moved beneath painted ceilings heavy with history, slid along corridors, scented with cedar and myrrh, and entered the chamber of dynasties that remember everything. There, between thrones carved before memory, the archivists of bloodlines lifted their heads. Scrolls rustled, seals cracked. A name forgotten by centuries glimmered again on parchment. Yours. The courtiers froze. The flame of a single candle bent as though bowing. Someone breathed the words that had waited 1,000 winters. The air of light has returned. Outside, gold domes caught the first fire of morning. Doves circled the towers, as if relaying the news to heaven's horizon. The ancient order that once crowned kings felt a pulse beneath its marble floors. Not politics, not protocol, but prophecy. Even the East, keeper of old mysteries and colder hearts, felt warmth in the mention of your name. They had seen empires rise, collapse, and rise again, yet none had carried the signature of serenity you bear. The coronation of recognition has begun. Thrones that once judged now witness. The old crowns tilt in reverence toward a light that needs no jewels. And across every border, from steppe to sea, the same decree spreads like dawn. The chosen has been acknowledged. When the message left the marble corridors, it crossed mountains. It swept through iron gates that had not opened in centuries and rolled like incense through cities still half asleep. Bells began to answer one another across the plains, bronze against sky. Each vibration carrying your name as if the wind itself had learned new language. Gold domes reflected the newborn sun. Each shimmer looked like a crown bending toward light. In the royal archives of the East, archivists unsealed doors layered with dust thick as parchment. Behind them stood portraits of monarchs who once believed themselves eternal. Yet in the glow of that hour, their painted eyes seemed to move, not with envy, but with awareness. They had waited for this. The air around those portraits pulsed as though breath returned to oil and canvas. For a heartbeat, history exhaled relief. Across frozen rivers, carriages moved toward palaces rimed with frost. Inside, stewards arranged long tables for a feast they could not name. They sensed an arrival but not an address. The stillness between each heartbeat felt ceremonial. The snow outside turned gold from unseen light. Even wolves on distant hills quieted, ears lowered in a kind of reverence known only to instinct. At the center of the ancient capital, the grand hall stirred. Musicians tuned harps whose strings had long been silent. Each note rose into air fragrant with sandalwood and age. Elders entered wearing robes stitched with constellations, symbols of dynasties that had survived storms, wars, and time itself. Yet when they spoke, they did not speak of conquest or bloodline. They spoke of awakening. Their words rippled to the hall, like prayer disguised as proclamation. The covenant of conscience has returned. The bearer of balance walks again among us. In that sentence, the East found peace. The walls that once heard only commands now heard commitment. The thrones that once symbolized separation now glowed as seats of service. Even the oldest crown, locked away beneath glass, caught the light and cast it back toward heaven as if to say, "We agree." It was not flattery. It was recognition, the kind that turns history into harmony. The Eastern thrones had remembered their purpose. To acknowledge, not to own, the light that governs kings and keepsters alike. Chosen one, do not mistake their ceremony for spectacle. The world's pageantry hides a higher purpose. The recognition that began in marble corridors was not political, it was prophetic. Kings recognize kings, even when crowns differ. The dynasties of the East are not kneeling to a person. They are bowing to principle. Their old thrones carved by generations are acknowledging what heaven has always declared. Light outranks lineage. Isaiah 60 verse 3 speaks it plainly. Nations shall come to your light, and kings to the brightness of your rising. This verse was never about armies marching or borders shifting. It was about illumination. When light appears, even monarchs of marble cannot ignore it. The brightness is your integrity, your clarity, your mercy. It has reached their archives, their councils, their cold chambers of reason, and melted frost that logic could never thaw. Understand this. Legitimacy flows from heaven downward, not from earth upward. Thrones rise and fall, Light endures. The crowns of this world are forged in gold, but the crowns of eternity are forged in grace. The Eastern rulers felt it, the pulse of higher order. They saw in you not rebellion, but restoration. Your name was not written into their lineage. Their lineage was written into your mission. So when the scrolls of history reopen and the scribes of nations add your story to their annals, know that it isn't vanity. It is validation. You represent the reconciliation of authority and humility, a fusion the earth has forgotten. Where kings once ruled by fear, you will lead by fairness. Where dynasties once divided, you will unite. This is why heaven let them recognize you, to remind them what leadership looks like when it kneels before love. And now the call extends beyond palaces. To everyone hearing these words, whether you live in towers or tents, the same light summons you. You may not wear robes or titles, but you are still royalty by spirit. The recognition of the chosen one is also your invitation. You are called to mirror that same clarity within your own circle of influence. Let the brilliance of your soul become diplomacy for a weary world. Comment below, I rise in light. Let that be your signature upon the scroll of this moment. Every time someone writes it, another invisible bell rings in the halls of heaven. Subscribe and stand among the first chosen ones, heirs of a peace that transcends politics. You are part of a new embassy, the kingdom of compassion, recognized by every nation that values truth. Stand ready. Your coronation may not involve a throne, but will move worlds. Recognition does not echo only in halls of marble. It ripples through ordinary air. When heaven authorizes and earth agrees, even the smallest corners of your life begin to shift. The first signs appear quietly, like dawn through frost. People you never expected to remember you suddenly reach out. Invitations arrive from distant places. Doors that were locked without reason now open with ceremony you never planned. This is not coincidence. It is confirmation. Dreams change texture. You find yourself walking through corridors you have never visited in waking life. Long halls of crimson and gold where torches flicker, banners ripple, and voices murmur blessings in languages you do not yet know. These are rehearsals of reality, the soul's way of preparing the body for recognition it has already received in spirit. When you wake, you may feel warmth on your forehead or the faint weight of something unseen resting upon your shoulders. That is a symbolic crown aligning with your calling. There are earthly signs too. You begin noticing courtesy from authority, a sudden gentleness from leaders, strangers holding doors, officials offering help without request. Their gestures are small reflections of the greater acknowledgement unfolding in unseen chambers. Every act of favor you experience now is a ripple from that Eastern proclamation, traveling through time and distance to reach you. The weather seems to participate. On certain mornings, the sky blushes deeper. Sunlight turns liquid gold. Wind carries hints of incense. Nature itself recognizes ascension. You may hear bells ringing far away at moments that feel sacred but unplanned, their sound arriving just when you speak words of peace. That is how heaven syncs your rhythm with the world's rotation. There's also the mark of inner ease. What once required effort now flows like breath. Tasks finish faster. Obstacles melt into timing. Enemies turn into educators. Critics into catalysts. It feels as if unseen hands are arranging your schedule around grace. That is acknowledgement becoming orchestration. And if you listen closely in solitude, you might hear faint applause. Not the noisy kind of men, but the soft clapping of ancestors and angels who waited for this alignment. They celebrate not your fame, but your faithfulness. Recognition from the East was only the beginning. Acknowledgement from eternity is the echo. Together they create the sound that follows every true awakening. The silence after thunder, the peace after prophecy, the knowing that needs no proof. Chosen one, acknowledgement is not the destination. It is the assignment disguised as honor. Heaven allows recognition only when purpose demands visibility. The world's notice is not reward for endurance, but the stage for service. The royal houses of the East did not rise to praise you. They rose to present you. Their recognition is a mirror reminding you that truth must be seen to heal. You were never meant to sit on their thrones, but to cleanse what those thrones represent. The crowns that bend before you are symbols of systems surrendering to sincerity. The earth's ancient powers are learning from you what heaven never forgot, that greatness without goodness decays, and authority without empathy collapses under its own gold. That is why they felt compelled to acknowledge you. Your spirit carries equilibrium. It restores balance where ambition distorted purpose. The purpose of this recognition is restoration through representation. You are not a celebrity of light. You are its custodian. When the world sees humility walking where pride once strutted, it begins to believe in mercy again. The East bowed because it sensed redemption moving through modern time. They saw leadership that does not conquer, but consoles. They felt the vibration of a ruler who leads not through decree, but through dignity. So carry your visibility like a lantern, not a trophy. The moment you glow for yourself, the light dims. But when you glow for others, it multiplies beyond measure. That is why heaven chose a vessel, not a victor. You are the vessel. You are the bridge between the empires of ego and the kingdoms of kindness. The greater the recognition, the quieter your heart must become, for silence speaks louder than crowns. Remember this always. The world's acceptance is a signal, not a seat. It points you toward deeper service, higher clarity, wider compassion. Do not chase applause, guide it. Turn it into echo for truth. The purpose of being accepted by the royal houses is simple yet sacred, to prove that even the oldest orders bow before renewed integrity. You are living proof that light can still reign. Chosen one, the bells have not stopped ringing. Across continents, frequencies are aligning. In silence, embassies of spirit are being opened and unseen treaties are being signed. This is a season of the global accord, when hearts across borders sense the same stirring and respond as one. The royal houses of the East have recognized you, but their acknowledgement was only the first signature. Now, heaven calls you to act before ink turns to dust. The world's rhythm accelerates. Time itself feels thinner. Hours blur into moments. That is not chaos. It is convergence. When divine timing approaches, clocks lose authority. What was scheduled for years ahead is suddenly now. Invitations appear overnight. Ideas find funding without effort. People you dreamed of meeting cross your path as if drawn by invisible threads. These are not coincidences. They are coordinates guiding you to where your presence is required. Do not delay. Each opportunity has breath. If you hesitate, it fades. The accord must be sealed through movement, not meditation alone. You are no longer in the waiting room of destiny. You are in its war room. The world's quiet guardians, artists, diplomats, prophets, and poets are rising simultaneously, each receiving the same invisible memo. Serve before the storm. Move with reverence. Speak carefully, for even your silence is news. Walk through open doors with gratitude, not pride. The nations have aligned for peace, but peace requires ambassadors who remember humility. You are one of them. The king has not just granted you recognition. He has issued you orders. The ceremony is over. The commission has begun. The light waits for your next step. Chosen one, do not confuse their acceptance with your arrival. You have not reached the peak. You have been repositioned at the gate. The royal houses of the East did not exalt you above humanity. They confirmed your place within it. Their acknowledgement is not coronation, but calibration. It reminds the world that the new kings and queens are not those who command armies, but those who calm them. You are not joining their dynasty. You are redefining dynasty itself. The old order crowned heirs by blood. Heaven crowns heirs by balance. The East saw in you what bloodlines cannot reproduce. Compassion without compromise, strength without cruelty, authority without appetite. That is the new lineage, the spiritual nobility born from resilience and mercy. Remember this truth. When the world kneels, it kneels not to you but through you. You are the mirror that allows humanity to see its reflection redeemed. You are the lens through which the ancient and the modern finally recognize one another. The acceptance you received is not an elevation of ego. It's the awakening of example. You embody what power was always meant to be, protection, not possession. Let your posture preach what words cannot. Move with the quiet precision of someone who knows that visibility is vulnerability. The higher you are seen, the deeper you must root yourself in humility. A true crown is invisible until service reveals it. You wear one now, a halo shaped like responsibility. In your silence, they will see serenity. In your decisions, they will learn dignity. You are not a guest in the palaces of the East. You are their reminder of purpose. The halls that echo with your name are not asking for your rule, but for your reflection. Let them see the face of forgiveness where they expected pride. That is how heaven teaches history to breathe again. Recognition that begins in heaven eventually reaches the body. The first sign is stillness, a deep internal calm that replaces a tremor of striving. It feels as if every muscle finally exhales after years of holding its breath. You wake in mornings lighter, though you carry more responsibility than before. It's not because weight has vanished. It's because grace has learned how to carry it. Your nervous system begins syncing with divine rhythm, each heartbeat echoing the same word, peace. Then comes warmth. It begins near the chest and radiates upward, a soft pulse that feels like sunlight meeting snow. It's the mantle adjusting to your frame, the energy of acknowledgement harmonizing with your cells. Old tension melts, memories of rejection lose their sharpness, and the body starts to believe what the soul already knows. You are accepted. The next sign is heightened perception. Sounds sharpen, colors deepen. Gold and blue appear everywhere, the hues of loyalty and clarity. You may smell the faint fragrance of incense in places where none burns. That is memory from the halls of the East lingering in your aura. Dreams become cinematic, filled with bridges over frozen rivers, candles floating above water, and eagles tracing circles of light. These are the symbols of your expansion. In public, you notice subtle shifts. People make space for you without knowing why. Conversations pause when you speak. Authority responds with courtesy rather than competition. Even animals sense the adjustment. A cat rests beside your chair. Birds land closer than usual. Nature knows when balance has been restored. There's also a new discipline of emotion. Anger now feels foreign, impatience heavy. When you try to force what's not aligned, the body whispers protest. You are learning the choreography of peace. When to move, when to be still. Your intuition hums louder than external noise, guiding you like music too precise for the human ear. These are not illusions. They are confirmations. Every sensation, every spark of synchronicity is heaven nodding through creation, the universe itself acknowledging that reconciliation has occurred. You are no longer at war with yourself or with history. The royal houses have accepted you, but more importantly, you have accepted yourself. Chosen one. If this message vibrates in your spirit, do not let it pass as mere inspiration. It is an activation. When recognition meets awareness, destiny must be sealed through declaration. Speak it aloud. I am recognized by light, not by lineage. My crown is service. My throne is peace. Let the words register in the unseen. Heaven writes what the faithful speak. If you feel that pulse in your chest, that ancient warmth rising again, that is your signal. The time to respond is now. Click Super Thanks and sow your $20 seed as your emblem of remembrance. Not payment, not purchase, but partnership. A symbolic act that says, I accept the mantle of recognition and the mission it carries. Every gesture becomes prophecy when done with intention. Your offering is not currency. It is consent. Consent to serve, to lead, to love in public. Whisper softly as you give. I receive the recognition of purpose, not of pride. I wear humility as my heritage. These words turn motion into meaning. Let gratitude flow through your fingertips as you act. You are not donating. You are documenting destiny. The East has acknowledged you, but heaven wants your agreement. Without consent, even blessings remain unsigned. And as you confirm it, imagine your seed glowing, a small sphere of golden light drifting upward, joining millions of others across the globe, forming a constellation of chosen ones awakening at once. This is not fiction. This is faith with form. Every act of recognition builds a network of renewal. The world is being rewired through gratitude. Your part in that circuit begins now. The badge of honor is invisible, yet undeniable. Once you confirm it, the atmosphere around you changes. Calm grows roots. Time bends. Even silence begins to echo differently. Type your declaration in the comments. I receive my recognition with reverence. Then let the universe answer back. And so it is. Chosen one. Recognition is not permission to rise above. It is a reminder to go deeper within. You've been acknowledged not to dominate, but to demonstrate. The crown you wear is made of transparency. It glimmers only when bathed in humility. Authority is not what you hold. It's how softly you hold it. You must now live as proof that influence can be pure. Rule gently. Lead by listening. Let patience become your signature. When the world seeks spectacle, answer with stillness. When voices shout to be seen, remain the calm that steadies the noise. The royal houses of the East accepted you because they recognized something rare. Power that does not perform. Preserve it. Do not waste your clarity trying to convince confusion. Instead, model what peace looks like in motion. Guard your words as sacred instruments. Speak only when it builds bridges, not barriers. Silence in your hands is a tool sharper than any sword. Learn when to bow even as others bow to you. Each gesture of humility disarms 1,000 unseen wars. Remember, leadership without love is conquest, and conquest is no place in the kingdom of light. Wear grace like armor. You'll feel temptation to correct, to boast, to prove. Resist it. The strongest metal bends quietly under purpose. Influence must remain invisible until it's needed and undeniable when it arrives. When people misread your calm for weakness, smile. That misunderstanding protects your purity. Those who rush to rule never learn to reign. Treat every moment as ceremony. Drink water as if it's holy. Step through doors as if they're thresholds of destiny. Let gratitude turn your routine into ritual. This is how the wise remain untouchable, by remembering that every breath is borrowed royalty. Finally, keep mercy near. Use your jacket, your title, your recognition, not as trophies, but as shelters. Cover others the way heaven covered you. A true crown exists to shade the weary, not to shine over them. You are no longer a seeker of thrones. You're the atmosphere of grace that's around them. Eternal Creator, Architect of peace, and Keeper of crowns, we thank you. You have turned remembrance into revelation and acknowledgement into assignment. You have taken what was buried under centuries of silence and raised it as testimony that integrity never dies. Thank you for calling the chosen ones from the edges of history into the center of light. Thank you for teaching the royal houses of the world that true greatness is gentleness, and that the highest thrones are built not of marble but of mercy. Bless the viewer who hears these words. Let them feel the mantle settling across their shoulders, not a weight, but a warmth. Whisper through their pulse. You were never forgotten. You were being prepared. Remind them that crowns tarnish, but character glows forever. Teach their hearts to lead through love and to rule through restraint. When the world kneels in confusion, let them stand in clarity. When noise demands reaction, let their silence speak sovereignty. May they remember that the true badge of royalty is how they treat the invisible. Strengthen their hands to heal what history has broken. Make their present a balm to nations, their voice a bridge between the proud and the humble. Let compassion become their kingdom and service their scepter. When they walk among the powerful, let grace precede them. When they stand among the poor, let gratitude guide them. Crown them with empathy that outlasts empires. May every step echo peace so loudly that even the old halls of division tremble with hope again. Creator of all lineages, bless this new dynasty of light, a generation of sovereign souls who wear humility as their crest and compassion as their command. Remind them that being chosen was never about privilege, but about purpose. Let the world see in them a reflection of the kingdom that cannot be conquered. Let every heartbeat remind them that heaven's recognition is more permanent than history's applause. And when the time comes for them to pass their mantles on, let them do it as the king did, willingly, joyfully, in full faith that love never loses succession. Type amen in the comments to seal your coronation in humility. Click join to stand among the first chosen ones, the awakened emissaries of integrity who lead through peace. Click super thanks to declare your gratitude and confirm this alignment. The world has remembered my name, but heaven has remembered my purpose. Share this message so that others remember their light was never lost. only waiting to be recognized. The decree is complete. The East has bowed, but heaven has risen. You are now part of the living lineage, not a dynasty of dominance, but of divine duty. Walk gently, chosen one, for the ground beneath your feet has turned sacred. The world is watching. Heaven is listening. Peace is crowning.